This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com. Hello my friends, the Game Boy Geek here. Last weekend I was at the West Texas Tabletop Convention. It's a small regional convention where I got to hang out, play games, meet with guests, teach games to people, be on panels, and I took a lot of video hours there. Let me show you what it's like. So if you're in that area, next year you can see if it's something that you might want to go to. Let's get rolling. This was held in San Angelo, Texas, which has some history dating back to the 1800s. Here's downtown back then with horse and buggies, and then here it is today as we stood there waiting for the convention to start. It has some interesting history. There were some tunnels that were recently found underground that went directly from the bank to the places of negotiable affection, and just found about 6 years ago. This is essentially a fort town, which essentially the settlers were being protected by the natives, and that's what that fort was for. But it also had some cool murals around downtown of some of the military presence and history that the area has had in the past. And of course, hey, I must have been in the right spot because I was going to a gaming convention and had a big thing of a big Euro guy playing with some iron. So now this was held at the McNeese Convention Center. It's a very new building, and inside they had games that you could take out and just borrow. And a lot of the ones that you're seeing here are ones that you could basically take it out and you put a raffle ticket in, and at the end they gave away each and every one of these games. So if you played it, you basically got a free entry in to possibly win the game. They had plenty of them. There was probably about 20 or 30 games, good ones that they were giving away. Now there was a library that you could borrow games from. There was close to 200 games there. Everything from family games. You just saw Apples to Apples. You got Camel Up, but then you've got Descent, Dead of Winter. So it was a wide range and a great selection, even though just a few hundred games there, they had quite a selection. They also had the flags that you see at many conventions where if you need a player or if they were setting up for an event, you'd see different flags around. They had this cool idea of like sort of a puzzle room where you would scan things in and you would go through sort of an escape room type thing, and this is the box that was at the end. And if you went through it, it took almost the whole weekend for people to go through all these clues. It sent you all around the entire convention. You had to ask people stuff, you had to play games, you had to do different things. And at the end, you open up this big box. I'm not going to tell you what happened at the end, but this was the first set of people, heavy cardboard, Edward and Amanda opening that up. There were plenty of booths there. There were artists there. Here's Raven, one of the best artists I've seen. Wow, look at the images that he had for sale there. He does art for fantasy and role-playing and things like that. Just amazing detail that he was selling those prints at the convention. There were also a handful of game stores there that were selling games. Some of the game stores actually let you borrow. They had a little library too that you could borrow games from, but good selections, everything from, you know, Werewolf to Kill Dr. Lucky, Catan, everything from gamer games to family games. There also was a spot where you could set up and people were playing video games. Now, Pub Meeple was doing some live streaming from there. They are a board game media outlet, and they covered the entire convention as well. And I was interviewed there as well. Smart Cosplay was there, and these guys got a lot of attention walking around. You had Batman doing some cool things with his wings. You know, we had Superman and others. And these guys were walking around, taking pictures. They were actually on a panel where people were asking them questions about cosplay, how to get started, and asking the backgrounds of these specific people. We had some lovely ladies that were the queens of the whole entire convention there. They were just gorgeous. And then there were some people that were actually getting things done as it was going on. So this gentleman was getting painted, and at the end, he looked absolutely miraculous walking around with that. He was getting a lot of attention too. So there's definitely some flair going on at the convention as well. But we were there to game. So of course there were tons of games going on. The convention pretty much opened around 10 o'clock in the morning and went to close to about midnight each night. And it was just a 2-day convention for Friday and Saturday. As you can see, there were father and sons there. There were lots of kids there, but there were also lots of adults playing games like dungeon diving games. Some classics were played like Seven Wonders. They also had all different other things. They had a physics show come in that brought some kids in. Then they played some games afterwards. Classics were being played like Takedo. Now the hall held a few hundred people at a time, I believe. And over the course of the 2 weekends, I believe they had about 550 people come in and play the games. The mornings and the afternoons weren't as busy as the evenings. Both Friday and Saturday night were very busy. This was one of the games Favor of the Pharaoh got to play. And here's a look at the hall during one of the evenings where it was pretty filled with everyone there. And it was a great time spent into a nice little regional game convention. Well, as you can see, I had a blast there, and they definitely had that Texas hospitality. Everyone there was so nice. Now, as you can see, there was a lot of different things you could do there. You could just hang out and play games. There was a library of almost 200 games you could play there. Some of the booths that were selling games also had a stack of games that you could borrow as well. There were people shooting live video things there. The booths had quite a different range of things between artwork and books and sci-fi and cosplay. A good mix for a smaller convention. And then they had those panels with the cosplay panels, the designer panels, the industry, the media guests like myself that got to go. A lot of different things to do there. That cool little that puzzle thing, that sort of like an escape room type thing. That was really cool. And it was well run. The people, the volunteers there did a great job of making announcements and keeping things on point and keeping things on schedule. It was really well run organization. I think this is perfect if you're in the area to go there and hang out and go to the convention. I think it's really perfect for someone who has maybe never been to a convention, or maybe has been one but has some anxiety and doesn't like to be around a ton of people but want to get that feel. Because over the course of the weekend, there was maybe 550 people there. The nights were busier than the days. This would be like perfect way for someone to sort of dip their toe into conventions, go during the days when there's not as many people, and if they're feeling good, stay during the night. Or if you don't like the huge ones, but you like middle-sized conventions, go to this one at night on the Saturday night. And it was pretty full. Almost all the tables were full there. And so I really highly recommend it for anybody going to a smaller convention or lives in that area that can drive to it. Lots of fun. People were nice, and as you can see, it was a blast. So look forward to the West Texas Tabletop Convention next year, because I'm assuming they'll grow yet again. This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.